please welcome a truly iconic guest to the stage, the incredible Helen Slater. There you go, that is yours.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, hello.
Oh, hi everybody.
Got a lot of questions here apparently. They kept adding more and I dropped them all. I was so nervous that you were going to be on. I dropped all my cards. But it's because you're a legend. I will say that. I'm excited to talk to you today. I know I briefly spoke to you and I told you I have, we got more questions. I'm doing y'all's work today. But I have like a guilty pleasure of two of your films, Chantilly Lace and Chantilly Bridge, which are two of my secret movies I don't tell anyone I watch because I'm a grown man and that's really not demographic, but they're great films, great cast all around. Real quick before we get started into some of the other great stuff, those cast in those films are iconic. What is it like when you get all those great and amazing successful ladies all in one room? It seems all improv too, it's all natural conversation whenever I'm watching those films.
Yeah, these movies are Chantilly Lace, and we just did another one 25 years later with the same cast called Chantilly Bridge. It's all improvised, kind of independent filmmaking, and it was great fun, but I don't think that's what this audience is here for, to be honest.
No, of course not. I was just buying time to organize all these questions. But I just have to mention those two things. But I guess we start off is, who was the first person you told when you landed the role of Supergirl?
Oh my God, I have never been asked that, and that is an excellent question. I think I must have called my mom. I think back in 1983.
Do you remember her response?
Well, she had sewn a cape for my audition, and but by the time, then I had the screen test in London. I'm sure it was my mom and my dad, yeah.
Can you talk about that screen test and what it was like?
I was 18 years old. I was in London. I had flown from New York to London, and I just remember kind of this Alice in Wonderland feeling. They had a blonde wig on me. I had a headband, which was very strange and odd for the screen test. And just super excited as we are at 18, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, you landed that role at a very young age. When you first saw the costume, what were your thoughts in your head?
When I first saw the costume, I mean, it's sort of, I was so in love with Christopher Reeve and Superman, and I couldn't quite get the brain craziness that I would be playing his cousin, because those movies, I think Superman 1 and 2 had already come out. I don't think 3 had come out yet. Yeah, it was just crazy exciting. Super, super exciting.
Super iconic for sure. And David here has a question. How long after the movie release were you known in the public as Supergirl? How quickly were you just being recognized on the streets just as Supergirl?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I mean, then, this is before social media, before any kind of, I think it would have been a much more intense experience. This was more of a slow feeling. I don't remember being crazy, almost like after the Legend of Billie Jean, which was very quickly after Supergirl, those two movies together, I think that was when there was some recognition stuff I had to have.
And there was some vigorous training that went to becoming Supergirl. Is that true? You went through a lot of training to kind of prepare?
Yes, I was living in London. I trained with Alf Joint to train Chris Reeve and gained 25 or 30 pounds. And somebody was asking me recently what I did, and it wasn't just weight training and running, it was also fencing and horseback riding and trampolining and really unusual things. And Alf Joint's theory was that you just do as many sport type things to feel as athletic as possible, which I think is true.
Yeah, a lot of great action in that film. Great cast as well. What is it like working with Faye Dunaway and Peter O'Toole in Supergirl?
What was it like? I'm just laughing because whose question is that?
That's my question. That's for me.
Well, Faye Dunaway and Peter O'Toole were veterans, as we know from the Superman movies. That's what they do. They bring in these like crazy, famous people. And Peter O'Toole was really like a mentor for me, very much so. I told this story before that he had me do, I went to Performing Arts High School before I got the part of Supergirl, and I had taken Shakespeare classes and had been doing theater, and he had me do Juliet for him, and coached me, like told me to imagine I was holding 2 daffodils between my thumb and fingers so that the poetry could come through. So fun things like that, where else would you get but from Peter O'Toole, like on a film set, kind of.
What has been the most rewarding part of being associated with the Supergirl, Superman legacy?
I mean, honestly, it's really a gift that keeps giving. I've had the good fortune to be in Smallville and in the Supergirl cartoon and in the Supergirl TV series. So in that way, as an actress aging, where work isn't always as forthcoming, it's been such a beautiful way to keep making a living and doing what I love.
I love that. You mentioned it right here, my notes right here. You're in Smallville, you're obviously CW Supergirl, and then obviously your voice Martha Kent in the Superhero Girls, which is awesome. Also, you're in the Batman animated series as Talia al Ghul. Can you talk about, doing the voice acting stuff and how that differs?
That is my favorite kind of acting, voiceover, because you fall out of bed and you just go to work. You don't have to be spackled in a makeup chair or teased. Your hair's, yeah. So I really like when those job opportunities come. I enjoy that a lot.
No, I love it, and it's great to see you part of the Batman universe as well.
Yes, and so many people bring things for Batman, even though it was such a short arc that I had on it. So
that's one of the best animated shows, I think, of all time. Can we agree there, at least for that? I mean, I grew up on the Batman animated series.
Yeah.
Probably my first way of learning about Batman, so it's fantastic, and you're part of that legacy, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And speaking of the CW, what made you decide to continue with DC after Supergirl and joining, CW's show? I
mean, Greg Berlanti, who's sort of the father of this, he was so kind and reached out to me, and you really have to give props to those people that love the legacy and that people that came before, and not everybody always does that. So he actually reached out to me. That's how
I love that. And this is a kind of a follow-up question from the audience. What did it mean to you to be able to come back and be a part of the next generation of Supergirl? What are your thoughts on how they portrayed her?
Well, I could write a dissertation on Melissa Benoist and how she is just one of the all-time loveliest, just kindest, so talented. She sings. I don't know if you know, she was on Broadway in the Carole King musical. We went to see her do that. She was unbelievable. And everybody on the show, just very warm-hearted, great feeling. A lot of singing. Not a lot, but when I was there was singing. We did sing.
Speaking of dissertations, it's actually a question for Brent. You recently successfully defended your PhD dissertation. What is the essential theme of that one, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Brent. Thank you. I wrote about a topic, it's called, really, if you ask anybody that defends a dissertation to try and do it in 20 seconds or less, I think they black out a little bit, so excuse me, I'm blacking out for a second. No, I took 3 myths, a Greek myth, an Irish, Scottish myth, and a Tibetan Buddhist myth, and I looked at this motif of taking refuge. And what taking refuge is what I argued is that we have a need for quiet and to turn inward and to be in nature, and that the psyche, we only need it on the inside, but it comes to us, we get signs in the outside world too. We just happen to lay our eyes on a tree or in a creek, and we get that feeling. And I show in these different ways how the importance of that and how it is Well, really, it tied into at the height of COVID. I did a self-refuge practice that had to do with meditation and turning inward, and I linked that to, in mythology, we see that same need, whether it's the goddess Demeter in the Persephone and Demeter myth, her needing to take refuge in order to understand what happened to her daughter, and on and on. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please, let's talk about Supergirl.
I know that's a lot of hard work you went through, so congratulations on putting that hard work through.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Oh my God. I don't even know if there was English just then, but it made sense.
Okay, well, let's go back to Supergirl then. What do you think makes Supergirl a timeless and relatable character for all the audiences out there?
I mean, not to be like teachery, but it's interesting to hear from other people besides me what they think about it, because Supergirl was written in the model of Superman. There wasn't much thought of the feminine idea of how the feminine qualities might be brought to a mythic Supergirl woman hero. And I think in the last 15, 20 years, they're getting it more right, and they continue to get it more right with bringing in these more feminine, and I don't mean that like feminine as a woman, but just receptive, willing to be in uncertainty, not always knowing the clear path, whereas in male superheroes, traditionally, it's very heroic, it's the heroic ego, we're gonna do this, we're gonna accomplish that. So I think as time keeps going and the myth keeps, or the story of James Gunn now is gonna be helming the next Supergirl series, there'll be more of that brought in, is my hope and wish. Did I answer the question?
You did. We're gonna get a lot more Supergirl, that's for sure. It all started with you. How do you see the evolution of female superheroes from your time as Supergirl in the 80s to today?
Well, kind of along what I'm saying. I mean, I think it'll be interesting if at some point, if women start writing on the Supergirl myth as well. That might just be an interesting challenge or call to sort of see what they might do with the story, but I think it's evolving. Melissa certainly Laura brought in a lot of these feminine, beautiful qualities of vulnerability. Yeah, and that is, as a mythologist, that is in, certainly in all myths, we find different Greek goddesses. Not all of them are Athena, not everybody. There's Artemis, there's Persephone, these more internal, interior qualities that can still be heroic or goddessy or, yeah, like that. I would be advocating for that. And I think it is evolving in that way.
No, it's true. Like I said, we're getting another Supergirl James Gunn is bringing to life with Millie Alcock.
Yes!
Excited? Y'all excited for a new Supergirl?
Yes, we love her.
She's fantastic. What advice, not just her specifically, but what advice would you give actors that take on the role of Supergirl in the future?
That's such a good question. Yeah. Let's just say it's a really good question.
That is fair. Sticking to the Supergirl talk, you made a cameo in the Flash movie. I think everyone was excited about seeing just a lot of our favorites throughout time, you know, depending on your generation, stuff like that. Can you talk about that process? Did you get a phone call saying, hey, we want to use you for this?
Yes, I was flown to London, actually. Even though I got aged, they probably didn't need me. They could have used like a puppet with sticks and safety pins because of the CGI. But I went and they filmed me in I'd never been in this kind of camera setup. It was a tube with maybe like 60 cameras. They just get imagery of you and then they make your face look young. And yeah, it was very, very fun to do it for the brief time that I was on camera.
Well, we take it, like that was great. I went with my dad to watch that, so we had a lot of fond memories just watching all those scenes come together. Y'all like The Flash? You like all those scenes? We saw Mr. Reed, saw her Supergirl, saw everybody. At the very end, the different Batman showed up. I mean, that was an exciting movie.
Yeah.
That was just brilliant all around. I guess we have some questions about the Legend of Billie Jean. First off, I'm not sure who wrote this one, but I love the Legend of Billie Jean. What did, if anything, did a role like that feel like? Fair is fair.
Fair is fair is fair. I mean, it was so fun. We shot it, I'm sure most of you know, in Corpus Christi, Texas, which was like a fantastic place to make a movie. Helen Slater and Peter Coyote and Martha Keeman, Yardley Smith, who ended up voicing the part of Lisa in The Simpsons. Everybody really went on to have beautiful careers, but that was a really interesting, also feminist story. A girl who maybe gets treated a certain way by men because of how she looks, and then kind of shaves her head to sort of make a statement that it shouldn't always be, that there should be other terms besides just how you look when there's been an injustice. And I think that discussion's going on today, and we're seeing really good signs of more respect, I guess. Hopefully, God willing, that'll continue. But it's a modern Joan of Arc story, I think most people know, and just so fun. It's such a good romp to kind of, yeah.
Anywhere I see it streaming, I watch it. What's the last, y'all watched that recently? I love watching it anytime I can. It's such a great film. Little fun fact, obviously Helen Slater's in it too. Obviously no relation, but y'all play siblings in that. Just how was it like to just be with another Slater that's not related to you, y'all playing siblings?
I mean, if he ever, I don't know if he's doing the Comic-Con circuit or what his world, but he's so much fun. He's just this delicious, interesting, insightful soul. Even at 15 years old, you could just tell he was deeply thoughtful and funny. Yeah, we had a great time.
It's a small world too, when you're acting along someone's same last name, not related, and you're playing siblings.
I know. Great actor. He's a great actor.
I have one question here about, I guess, working with Leah Thompson, who's been coming here. I guess you were in a film that she directed, Jane Doe, The Harder They Fall. How was it like to be with her?
She's so sweet, and in fact, we live in the same neighborhood in Los Angeles, in the Valley, and I saw her not too long ago on our Framing Canyon hike. Just, you know, she's an iconic 80s actress who really held that sweetheart role just so beautifully for so many of us. And really smart director, and incredible actress, and Caroline in the City. Yeah, I mean, I was in that too. I did an episode of that too. It was awesome.
Well, it's gonna be a reunion for y'all here for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Back to Supergirl, actually. What was your favorite scene or stunt that you pulled off in the film?
I mean, probably flying, just in general, flying is a fun stunt to pull off. we shot up in Scotland, and I was on these piano wires where they would lift me up 80 feet and on this kind of old crane that would send me over the water. That was a very really cool.
So no fear of heights as Supergirl.
Well, I did have some fear, but I remember singing like "Hello Dolly" to myself the first time they were pulling me up. Like, it makes no sense. Although I did just see on social media, because the Olympics is coming up, that they were showing all these athletes talking to themselves right before they do either the javelin or the long jump, and you see them, you don't know what they're saying to themselves, but they're doing some kind of version of Hello Dolly to, like, you know, to boost up their before they, I'm sure it wasn't Hello Dolly. Yeah.
Lastly, I want to ask this. Did you take anything from the Supergirl set that you still have with you?
No.
Nothing?
I don't think I was allowed to.
Well, you're never allowed to, but a lot of people do it.
No. I did not.
What would you have taken if you could have?
I don't know that I would have. I mean, it's a good question. I just don't have a feeling. I don't like collecting stuff too much. I mean, yeah. No.
Well, I ask this, if they asked you that we're doing some type of Supergirl project, they want you to return as Supergirl, would you do it again? Would you suit up?
You know how old I am.
Everyone loves you as Supergirl, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Forever, ever, let's play Supergirl.
I would play the, like, head of the agency or the grandmother that lives, that would be fun.
That's a fair answer. Helen Slater, everyone, our OG Supergirl, our wonderful Supergirl.